I want to talk today about why key workers, critical workers, need a pay rise and not a pay cut. I work in local government, so I'm going to be talking about local government workers. Clearly and importantly, people are talking about other workers, health workers, people in the private sector. But there are 2 million plus people in local government and many more on local government terms and conditions. And we were supposed to get a pay rise or annual pay increment on the 1st of April. And we haven't received one. Back in July last year, the 3 local government unions put in a pay claim in recognition that we'd had 22% real terms pay cut in the last 10 years. The 3 unions agreed a pay claim of £10 an hour minimum starting salary for all workers, or 10% pay increase, whichever's the greater, to try and address the 10 years of pay freezes and pay cuts in that sector. And the employers, the local government employers, it took 7 months to respond, and in February this year, just as the coronavirus crisis was hitting Britain, the employers offered us 2%. Inflation last year was higher than 2%, and pay rises were going up higher than that. And other people in the public and private sector have had greater pay increases. So, frankly, that was an insult. The unions rejected it, and people who are key and critical workers are not having a pay rise on the 1st of April, 4 days ago, which is supposed to come in. So who are workers in local government? So these are care workers, home care workers, delivering care for vulnerable people in their homes, people working in children's homes, social workers, people working in schools, support staff, childcare workers and nursery workers in nursery schools and early years, people working in schools, people collecting the bins, people cleaning the streets, people working in parking, and many more. Housing, most housing, like in a city like Newcastle, a quarter of the housing stock is council owned. So people working in housing offices, people doing all the cleaning of these services, of the buildings, the community centres, the council buildings, the council housing, the streets. And most of those workers are still working. Most of those workers are critical workers, have been told so, and yet 22% real pay cut in the last 10 years and no pay rise this year. So I want to say that is a travesty. The unions have asked for 10% pay rise, or £10 minimum an hour for the lowest paid workers. And we want to say to councils, Labour councils and the government, that they should say that they meet that pay offer workers the deal that the unions has put forward, which doesn't actually redress the 10 years of pay cuts, but starts to do something so that some of those workers doing 2 and 3 jobs, working in, like, a lot of those low paid, particularly cleaners and frontline workers, are some of the lowest paid workers in the public and private sector. So they should be given a pay rise. They shouldn't give a pay rise on the 1st of April. They should be given the proper pay and conditions at work. And also many more other workers on similar terms and conditions in the voluntary and private sector who were previously local government workers that have been outsourced, often on the same terms and conditions. So again, we should say all council workers, outsourced workers and council delivered services, whether in the public or private sector, should get the 10% pay rise that the unions and the workers have asked for. And in the long term, we should be bringing all those jobs back in-house and making sure the terms and conditions are equal to those. So I want to say today, as a local government worker, as a trade unionist, a unison activist here in the North East, that the employers, Labour councils and other councils should listen to the workers, should be not just telling us we're critical and we're doing a crucial job, but actually giving us the pay rise we need. And that should be done now. So thanks for listening.